Ho ho! Tomorrow will be a special match for you. Two European giants face to face. How is Real Madrid approaching this game?
Well, on one hand, it's a classic, a clash between two great European clubs, right? Liverpool, Real Madrid, by history, by the present, because it's the Champions League. It's the kind of match fans love to watch. And well, both Trent and I have our history here at Liverpool, and it always feels good to come back to a place where you've been loved so much. But tomorrow we're here for our job, to play a good game and hopefully get a good result.
Football has its stories. Last year here, Mbappe missed a penalty and admitted he had hit rock bottom. Since then, he's been unstoppable, constantly scoring goals. Regarding what happened the other day, you said you like your players to take responsibility with penalties, even if sometimes they make their own decisions. I wanted to ask if you'll be more strict about that in the future, or if you'll continue to give them that freedom to choose.
No, we do set it. And I already mentioned in the press conference that we do designate the penalty taker. Then, of course, players make decisions on the pitch.
You've spoken about Trent Alexander-Arnold, a player who's been here, who was injured for a while and didn't play the other day. I don't know if he's fully recovered now, or if you see him already back in rhythm, or still finding his way a bit.
No, he's fine. The other day he didn't play because of the match context, but he's now available for any minute, any situation. He can play tomorrow. After the injury, we need him. Trent has tremendous quality. He's in a new stage, both professionally and personally, and we need to help him, give him what he needs to perform, because he's an exceptional player to have in the squad.
During the 5 years you were here, winning a Champions League, competing for the Premier League, also having some tense moments with Rafa Benitez and plenty of rumours, how has all that influenced your career now as a coach in the way you make decisions day to day?
Quite a lot. It influenced me deeply because it wasn't a small or insignificant chapter. It was very substantial for me as a player. I was with Rafa for 5 years and I learned a lot about what elite football really is. Not just playing matches, but thinking about them, preparing for them. That curiosity I developed back then definitely helped me reach this point now. And, well, when you love football, you enjoy playing for clubs like this, the biggest in Europe. Liverpool is one and Real Madrid is another. Those were very good years that helped me grow a lot as a player, and surely as a coach too. I still remember many things from that time that helped me in my daily work today.
Despite all the harmony, 13 wins in 14 matches, there's one aspect that still doesn't quite click: set pieces. You've only scored one goal from them. Can you explain the reasons, or if you've already analysed why that is? You have great takers and tall players who are good in the air. And, taking advantage of Arbeloa's words yesterday, where he graded you with top marks, I'd also like to know if you think that's fair, and what grade you'd give him for his first months with Castilla.
Well, you've asked several questions there.
Let's stick to one question, please. You can answer just the first one.
Can I answer the second one? Okay, I'll answer the second then.
Well, I don't grade myself. Those come at the end of the season. But Alvaro, I know what it's like to manage a B team, how tough it is to start and build momentum. They're doing really well now, and I'm really happy for all of them, especially for Alvaro. So I'll return the compliment. He's doing a great job. They're in the playoff spots. There's still a long way to go, so grades come in June. As for set pieces, we're working on it.
You know Anfield perfectly, and you know how it can create this almost volcanic atmosphere. How do you deal with that now, as the coach of a club like Real Madrid? What do you tell your players, knowing that in this stadium there are sometimes crazy minutes because of that atmosphere?
Well, I think many of them have experienced it, recently for worse and not so long ago for better. They already know those moments when it feels like there's a force, when the stadium roars and generates a powerful energy for the home team. They're players with a lot of experience who know how to respond well in charged atmospheres. It even motivates them more. I trust them completely. We can talk about it, but in the end, it's the players who are on the pitch. From the bench, there are moments when things go beyond your control. Preparing them mentally for these kinds of matches is important, and then, of course, footballing quality and personality are key tomorrow.
We've talked a lot these days about penalty takers in your team, Mbappe, Vinicius. You also have an interesting history with penalties at this club because the usual taker was always Gerrard, but in the 2005 Champions League final, he didn't take one even though he was on the pitch. What happened there? Why did you take it? And if I'm not mistaken, it was your first professional penalty. You'd never taken one before.
Well, look, I'm sure some of your English colleagues remember this. We had already qualified for the final, and in the last league match we played here at home against Tottenham, Gerrard missed a penalty. So a week later or so, we played the Champions League final, and Rafa decided that the designated takers would be me or Harry Kewell. When the penalty came, Harry was already off because he'd been substituted, so it was my turn. And I had never taken a professional penalty before. On the second attempt, it went in, and that probably changed my story as a player, and Liverpool's too, because it made it 3-3 in that final, which I'm sure most of you remember.
I think you came here to Anfield last year as well. I'd like you to tell us how you personally experience these kinds of reunions. We always see you very serious, a bit distant. But deep down, how do you really feel about returning to Anfield? Do you let yourself get carried away by nostalgia, or do you keep it under control?
I try not to let emotions get the better of me because I want to stay focused on the match and approach it the same way we do every game. I don't want it to change my preparation, my connection with the players, or what we need to do. Whatever has to happen will happen, but I do try to keep some emotional distance from these situations. Like when I go back to Anoeta, or when I come here to Anfield, or to any stadium where I've had a strong connection. You try to detach yourself a bit so you can stay centered on what matters, the work.
We know you know Florian Wirtz very well. He's adapting to a new league, and you know what that's like too. Do you think he'll succeed here at Anfield?
Yes, I have no doubt about that. It's just a matter of time because this is a big change for him, coming to Liverpool after spending so many years in Germany, his whole life really. After playing several seasons at Leverkusen, he'll need to adapt, but he's a very special player. He has personality, he's very competitive. His ability to change direction, his dribbling, he'll definitely do well in the Premier League. In fact, he's so special that I believe I owe him something for being here today, and for that, I'm grateful to him. I hope he starts showing his quality soon, but hopefully not tomorrow.
You just spoke about the emotions of returning to a club you once belonged to. Have you talked with Trent about that, especially considering that Anfield fans expressed disappointment toward him once it became known he'd be leaving the club?
We haven't spoken specifically about that, but we have talked about the team and the club. He has to handle his emotions or enjoy them in his own way. I can't tell him how to experience them, especially since his story is very different from mine. He was born here, and I even remember him from when he was just a little kid in the club's academy. So he has to live and enjoy his emotions about being back here. It will definitely be something special for him.
It surprised everyone a bit that you chose to train in Madrid and not here. I wanted to ask if you ever suspected that people might be watching the training sessions when technically they shouldn't.
No, that's not it. I did the same at Leverkusen. It's not something I've changed, it's just how I believe is best to prepare for a match. Not because of any suspicion or conspiracy or anything like that. We just want to prepare properly. And if we train in Valdebebas, we can control the environment much better. If we train here, we might give the opponent some clues for tomorrow, and that wouldn't be the smartest thing to do.
Carlo Ancelotti just spoke in Brazil. He gave his squad list for the November international break. He was asked about Vini, and I don't know if you've heard his comments. He said, "I spoke to Vinicius and told him he obviously made a mistake with Xabi Alonso. Does it please you that people in football saw things the same way we all did?"
Well, I already spoke about that last week. For me, the most important thing was that we discussed it on Wednesday, that he spoke with all his teammates and with me personally, and it was completely resolved. These are things that can happen, but we don't want them to happen again. The matter was closed, and that's where it stayed.
In this Champions League, and even in the previous edition, we've seen a lot of high-scoring matches. especially with the new league format, since goal difference decides tiebreakers. In the last matchday alone, there was an average of almost 4 goals per game, which is crazy. How does that affect your approach? Even though your matches have been tighter, except for the one against Kairat, how does that change the level of tension or focus, knowing you can't relax even when the game seems settled?
Yes, it's something you have to keep in mind whenever you have the chance. Against Juventus, the match was tight and the main goal was to win. But when you're in control and you sense weakness from the opponent, it's a good opportunity to score more goals. After last year's experience, when we still didn't know exactly how the format would play out, especially in the final rounds, you see that the stronger teams this season are picking up more points early on. Last year, there were more surprises. Now things are starting to balance out with the top 8 or 12 teams finding their spots. We're learning, and we know that whenever we have the chance to score, those goals could be decisive. Because, well, if you end up 8th or 9th, the matchups change completely. So the goal is to finish as high as possible.
The other day, and today as well, you made it clear that your designated penalty taker is Kylian Mbappe. When it comes to dangerous free kicks, though, would you also like Mbappe to take them, or is that different?
No, we have different takers for that. Kylian can be one of them, but then it's up to the players to decide. We guide them, of course, but for free kicks, there are others who can take them depending on the angle, the distance, and in the end, they decide on the pitch.